Hey, film fans, we're the MerCo Movie Guys. I'm Clint Chaffer, and this is my buddy Chad Weeks.
And we're a couple guys who like movies and like to talk about movies. Clint, what are we doing tonight?
Well, that's actually the fun thing here, Chad. I have no clue what we're doing here tonight, so you've kept this thing a secret. So
Yeah, it's not. It shouldn't have been a
break it
secret.
to me here.
It shouldn't have been a secret, but I just didn't want to allow you any prep time. You know, Batman-esque. So, this is just basically what this is. I'm just going to ask you if you agree with certain things. This is all going to be what we're looking at here is the Rolling Stone top 150 science fiction movies of all time.
Oh, wow.
And I'm gonna read off a few of them as we go through here, and you just tell me if you agree with it, if you don't agree with it, or and eventually when we get to number one, you'll tell me, do you agree or not?
Okay, yeah.
Pretty simple, and like I figure we'll wrap a little bit about some of these, if they deserve it. Some of them, I mean, they're in the top 150. I don't think they even deserve it.
I mean, are we going to you're starting at 150? I mean, this is gonna be a long episode.
No. I'm gonna hit I'm not gonna start with for example, 150 is Tank Girl. We don't even need to talk about Tank Girl.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
No, so I'm going to skip through, and we're just going to do a few of them, and maybe we'll hit one in each 10, and then we'll roll through the 10 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll do one in the 150 to 140, something like that. Yeah. I have no clue how this is going to go. We're just going to do some stuff.
No prep time. I just have to be thinking off the cuff on whether or not Rolling Stones magazine got this correct or not.
Correct. Exactly.
I'm going to say right now they didn't get it correct. I bet your top 10 is a mess.
Yeah, I bet it is too. Yeah. So.
All right. Hit me with the first one.
Oh, we're going to go right into it?
Yeah, I think so. I think we with no further ado, let's jump into this.
Without further ado. All right, number 148, Demolition Man.
Oh, 148?
Yeah.
Man, you're all like 2 episodes ago we were talking about some of the best action movies in the 80s and 90s, and I put this on my list.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. That should be
147 movies better than that.
In the science fiction realm. Yeah, I mean it's not top 50 probably.
No, it's not top 50. But I mean 148 is a little ridiculous.
Man, I'm going to slide that into 88 is where I would put that.
Okay. You want to tally these up and you just keep track of things as you go?
I want you to tell me what 88 is.
Well, I can't go to 88 because then we'll skip right past it.
Well, then we can always go back. I guess if I'm replacing that, I got to know what I'm replacing it with.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Let's do it that way. If you skip to 88, you just got rid of Scanners from 1981. Yeah, I think we're good with it too.
Yeah, no, that's.
But here's the thing: I can't exit the top 140 here yet because there's some good ones in here. Species, Running Man, Last Starfighter. Do you remember the Last Starfighter?
Ooh, if so, that's been a while.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But number 143.
Man, I love that movie. It's
I agree.
One that I like.
144. I think that's a little bit out of touch. How about this one? And this is the one I feel this could be the worst one on the list. Men in Black. At 143, Men in Black.
Men in Black?
Mm-hmm.
Like 1 or like 4?
1.
No way.
The international.
No way.
Yeah.
No, that's actually that's shameful. That's actually first off, when that movie came out, what was that? I'm going to say 95?
97.
97? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that was first off, you had Will Smith, who was becoming one of the biggest stars at that point in time, right? Or at least starting on his way. Yep. And you got an amazing song that goes along with that.
Yeah. Was that in Men in Black 1 though?
Yeah.
Did the song come in?
I had the soundtrack. I had the CD. I had the compact disc.
I bought a second-hand CD player for my 88 Firebird, and when I installed it, it came with the Men in Black soundtrack as well. I just couldn't remember if it was Men in Black or Men in Black 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna have to I mean, I'm gonna have to think about that for a minute, but I'm putting that at that breaks the top 50 for me.
I think it's top 15.
That breaks the top 50.
I think it's hard not to put it in the top 15.
Yeah, you probably. I mean,
it's Men in Black for God's sakes.
You're gonna have to, if you're talking like, science fiction. I mean, if you start looking at Star Wars, you start thinking about some of these big films, right? So I know the top 10 has to be filled, right?
Yeah, you're right. So that's pretty ballsy on my part to say that. So I should, yeah.
I would put it top 50.
Okay,
I'm gonna put it to, what is it, 144? I'm pushing this exactly 100 films up, and I'm gonna replace number 44 with it.
Number 44. So let's go to number 44. See what we just got rid of.
I like how we're not pushing them down. We're just getting rid of them.
Yeah, they're just gone. Well, I suppose they could be swapped. Takes a little bit. Sometimes they need a load. Sometimes they don't. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like the first original Men in Black was such a fun film.
I think number 2 was great too. Like I think that maybe that one's higher up here. I don't know. But
I'm a sucker for the original.
Yeah, and so you just got rid of Gravity, 2013 Gravity.
Oh, Gravity's really good.
It's really good, but if you swap them, I'd say okay.
Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. Like, let's talk about Gravity for just a minute here. Here's my issue with that movie. Yeah. Sandra Bullock, man, let me take a stab at this. 2012?
2013.
13. Okay. That's close.
Yeah.
My issue with Gravity is it's one of those movies. That's like a must watch in the theater. Like, silence was incredible, right?
Yep. Silence was deafening to cliche. Yeah.
And the anxiety in that film is incredible, right?
Yep.
My issue with that film is it's a bad case scenario 100% of the time. Everything is worst case scenario. Like, but throughout that entire movie, it's just like everything that is just happening. And plus, like, you're suspending a lot of like, they almost portray it trying to be like accurate, right? But it's like, man, there's also just a lot of,
it's space, man. And like Apollo 13 is the exact same way. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong before they even leave for the mission, and that's based on a true story.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, but this was like,
is that going to be a top 10, top 15? Apollo 13?
Is that science fiction though? I don't really consider that science fiction.
Oh yeah, because it's not fiction. You're right.
Yeah, I mean that's
I never even thought about that. So it'd be a biopic or a So
yeah, okay, have to.
Here's the one thing I do want to say though. You said move it up 100 and replace it. Do you want to go with 44 or do you want to go with 43? Because technically this was 43.
What was 43?
So all right. So it was 143 was Men in Black.
Then let's swap out 43. We're redoing this. So we're keeping Gravity in at 44.
Yeah.
Now what did I just kill?
I feel like you might be a little upset about this one because it's 1988's They Live.
Oh,
I think that's aptly put. 43 is about right for that one in my opinion.
I want to keep that. I'm pushing that to 44, and Gravity is still going back down to 143. So
okay, all right. Well, I think you're just making up your own rules now at this point.
Yeah,
whatever.
We are. They Live is such a fun movie, though. I mean,
it is.
If you have not watched that movie, it is a complete cheesy film. Is that Roddy Piper?
Roddy Piper, and I can't remember who else was in the movie, but yeah.
That doesn't matter after you name him, but
exactly.
Man, I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick butt, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Yeah.
Okay, so lines right there.
I'm gonna list this one off at 142. Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. You probably never heard of that one, but
here's the thing: the only place where I've heard about that from, I've never watched. Actually, no, I take that back. After I watched Ready Player One, and he does the Buckaroo Banzai outfit, I did start watching Buckaroo Banzai.
Yep.
And I'm going to say I got like 15 minutes into it, and it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, I agree. I'm skipping by some really good ones here. Idiocracy. I feel like we got to talk about this one, though. 139, Independence Day.
Did you say Idiocracy?
Yeah, Idiocracy was up there at like 142.
Idiocracy is fantastic. That's another great movie.
I
Is
know,
that,
man. I know.
man, is that Luke Wilson, right?
Yeah, Luke
Uh,
Wilson and the big guy with the cheeseburger Eddie. What's his name?
yeah,
He was the president.
that is, Terry Crews. Yeah.
Maya Rudolph is also in that one. I forgot about that. Yeah, Terry Crews. There you go.
Idiocracy, I still like, I laugh because there's some, like, you can watch, I just watched that, I'm going to say last year at some point in time, late in the year last year, I watched it again.
Yeah.
And there's just some funny things that you can,
It's
I don't know,
probably
it still relates. It relates hard. So
it is probably the closest thing we have to a real life apocalypse scenario.
Like I'm not kidding. I feel like you could wake up and that be a reality at some point in time. But man, that's such a great movie.
I agree.
And Independence Day, another.
Clint, I can't read them all to you, man, because you're gonna get
I know.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, 138. I mean, it just keeps going. But let's get down here into District 9. Let's get down in here to the 130s and talk about something in there.
All right.
You remember District 9? I love District 9.
District 9 was like, yeah.
So here's another blasphemous one. Okay. Number 130, The Fifth Element. List 20 movies that are better than that one. Come on.
Oh, man, that's another great movie.
It's incredible. Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich.
94?
97.
97. Man, 97 again. Okay.
What's Gary Oldman and Chris Tucker. I was going to say Chris Tucker is the guy. Chris Tucker was just like, that role was out of this world for him. Like, he put so much effort into that role. I loved it. I can't remember what his name was. Ruby Rose.
That William H. Macy was in that.
Yeah. All right. So
Fifth
again,
Element should be, man. I don't know if I don't think I'd put that movie in my top 50.
Okay. Do you want to move it up and get rid of something?
Yeah, I would push it up, but I don't know how far. It would probably just crest into my top 100.
Okay.
So I'd like replace like number 98 with it.
Okay. Well, let's look at number 98 while we're doing this. Number 98 is a little bit of scrolling pauses here. So,
you know, there's going to be folks out there that are just going to be angry with some of these replacements, right? I mean, because you hit some of these movies are, you know, cult classics and things of that nature that, you know, you really start messing with there. So let us know. Give us a comment as we're going through this, and drop a comment down there and let us know where you would place some of these films at.
Feel free, because I feel like later on we're going to get real insulting with a lot of people's favorite films, or at least I'm going to. So you just replaced Rollerball from 1975.
Great.
Yeah, exactly. You got real close to doing something really bad, but real close to doing something really bad.
Well, Rollerball I'll get rid of. So
okay, all right. Let's go back up here. I had one in the, what was it? Where were we at? We're about 124 or something. 130. Okay, so in the 130s, I got 124. Maybe, I don't know if you know this one or not, but Attack the Block, British film. It's super good. You should watch that one. Add that to your watch list. Super fun, wildly underrated. It's probably a top 100 film, but okay, all these, nothing really too personal here. Some of them, it's like The Beast from 2000 Fathoms in 1953. That's number 118. No clue what that is. Yeah. Okay, here's one. Number 117, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy is 117?
Yes, sir.
That's blasphemy.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy is top 5 movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not...
on almost any scale.
Well, here's the thing. I cannot, in good conscience, replace anything in the top 10. I'm playing with fire if I start doing that.
Yeah, I know what's in the top 10 for loosely because I looked at it earlier. So, like, I know that I could, but I just don't know where I'd put them.
Yeah, I just don't know what, you know, like, it would be in my, I would put it in my top 5.
Okay.
Like, but that's literally, for me, that's one of my, like, I mean,
it's one of the best movies of all time. Like, it really is.
That's one of the Mount Rushmores of my movies in general.
That's the last movie that I went to see in the theater with my grandma. We went up there and watched it, and it was during COVID, so you could like rent out the whole theater. because my grandma was a little, she was suffering some dementia stuff and things like that. But my favorite part about the whole thing was at about the halfway point, there's a scene where they're like, that was what my grandma said repeatedly throughout it. They're all out. So it's like, glad we had the whole theater to ourselves.
Yeah. But I'm glad that you just made my editing work harder. Now I got to beep out some curse words there. So
I know. It's the first time I've ever done that. So you got to do it. You owe me one.
We almost made it like, 50 episodes.
Yeah.
Or at somewhere on there.
Okay, then here's another one I can't skip by it, Clint. Rogue One at number 115.
Okay, yeah, Rogue One is that's one of the that's a great movie.
This doesn't have the staying power. Like, it's not as classic of a film. Is that why it's
there's like Rogue One's like one of those interesting ones because you either like find people that absolutely loved that film or you have people that just it didn't relate to. Right?
It could be my favorite Star Wars film. So
I still think with the they attack the biggest plot hole in A New Hope and made an entire movie off of getting the blueprints, right? And I think that is just such a cool way to do that film. The ending is just like how it's going to end. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I that'd probably be a top 25 for me.
Okay. Do you think it's higher than Barbarella at 109?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So keep in mind,
and this is going to be, again, I think for folks listening out there, which is going to be, if you're of a different generation, I know that we're going to like anger some folks, right?
I agree.
Because there's going to be a large swath of these like 1970s films that either I haven't watched or I've only watched them limited times, and I know I would kick out a bunch of these, right?
Yeah.
So I get that. I'm gonna miss a generational aspect there.
Here's probably the biggest one for me. This is the one that's is probably the biggest miss on this list.
I'm gonna replace number 23
with,
by the way,
with
Rogue One.
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't have gone that high.
I'm taking a chance. I'm taking a shot. I said it was going to be in my top 25.
Clint, what are you doing? This is going to be dangerous.
I know. This is a little bit of like Russian roulette right here.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. You got rid of Snowpiercer. I'm surprised the Snowpiercer is that high.
Snowpiercer is in the top 25.
It is. I think it deserves to be in the top 30 at least. I love Snowpiercer, but
Snowpiercer's fun, but no way. You want to talk about it?
Fun. It's not fun. Snowpiercer is dark and like it's not fun. Oh, yeah. That's a great that's a very that's another
I'm not mad about that swap though. I would swap those two.
Okay. All right.
I like Snowpiercer, but it's not going to be in my top 25 for sure.
I would put it I would agree with that too. I would agree it's not top 25. But here's the one that you're now that you know that this is on the list, I feel like it's going to change a lot of things about the list. At number 106, and to me, I would move this one all the way up to number 1.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is Jurassic Park.
Hold on. At what number?
106, Clint.
Well, this is just getting to be a silly list. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, that's a I wouldn't put it as number 1. It would be, man, that again is going to be a top 10 movie. I mean,
like if it's on a list, if Jurassic Park is on a list, any list at all, I feel like it's almost number 1 on any list. Like if it's whether it's be dinosaur movies or fantasy or what, like science fiction, if it's on the list, I feel like it's going to be number 1. I think above Star Wars and all that stuff.
Yeah, like I said, it would be a top 10 for me.
Nobody says, man, I didn't like Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, like, I mean, that's just such an epic film, and in that whole series, like nothing's come close to hitting the first one.
Yeah, and you talk about generations and people from 1975 and stuff like that, but again, this one was ours, and there's just like, I don't know if it's just that sort of ageism that they're throwing here or what, but like I think this is the worst take on here. That's the worst one.
So like with you saying like Guardians, the interesting part is I mean, like, is the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe in play with science fiction
Good
then?
question, and I don't know. Because like my thought is like I would not have thought of Jurassic Park in this list, but if it's in the list, it's got to be number 1 on the list.
Yeah,
That's
that
my
just
thought.
it changes like a little bit of the take, right?
Correct.
On what this list is. That's a bad take. That's actually the worst one. I thought honestly I thought Men in Black was bad, but this is terrible. And well, Guardians is
Yeah.
atrocious. So
All right, number 99. You almost got this one when you hit Rollerball, but on 99, Predator.
oh yeah, yeah. This is the original, just to be clear. Okay. Yeah, I mean, because that you know how I probably feel about some of the later Predators that, you know, I mean, they're fun movies to watch, but I mean that first original one is incredible.
You've seen Prey, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I love
That's
Prey.
like Native American fighting Predator at that point. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great film. Man, Predator would be, man, I'd have to say that'd be a top 30.
Yeah, I would say so too. I think it's here's I would think it'd be higher. Here's one that 94, The Iron Giant.
You know, I've never seen it.
Okay. People rant and rave about it. They love it. It's from 1999. I have seen it. I think it's fine. I think it's aptly put where it needs to be. 94. I mean, I don't have any problem with it being there, but I feel like other people are gonna be like, The Iron Giant. Well, that's a cinema masterpiece, and I feel like everybody that watched it loves it. I was just like, oh yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I've ran into that same thing. I've seen a bunch of videos where everybody puts that as like, you know, the top 5 greatest animated films, right?
Yeah.
And Iron Giant's in there, but it's probably a movie that I should go watch. I should probably sit down and watch that at some point in time, but for some reason it's just it's never made my list yet. So
yeah. All right, here's another one for you. At number 90, Cloverfield.
Yeah, Cloverfield's great.
It's a great movie, but does it deserve to be on number 90 above Jurassic Park, above Men in Black, above all this?
That's going to be my issue, right? Like, again, I don't think, you know, some people could argue that Cloverfield kind of brought us that, you know, that first person POV, right? Or found films or whatever, right? And it had, I'm trying to think, like, which one was what was the one in the bunker with
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite ones.
Did you say Dan Goodman?
Or not John Goodman?
Yeah,
not Dan Goodman.
Yeah, he was Dan. He was Dan. Dan Connor.
Dan on. Yeah, I'm mixing him and his characters here, but
totally understandable. I just want to call attention to it because I agree.
No, that's. But no, that one was probably one of my favorite out of that whole series. Mm-hmm. Just because I like that one, just kept you guessing. You didn't know if he was good, bad, or in between, and you just kept going back and forth.
Yeah,
and then. The funny thing is about that movie that always made me laugh. I know that I'm like talking about a movie that's not even on the list here, but it's one of those where in the end you just find out it's all true.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's like just everything that you've been told is all true.
Yes, exactly. Maybe he was creepy, but he wasn't lying.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, it's just everything was true. So
81. Here's one that I remember from when I was a kid. I think it was either my grandma or my mom. Day of the Triffids from 1963. Do you remember that one?
No, never seen it.
It's a pretty B-rate movie, but it's all the way up into 81, so I'm kind of impressed by that. Here's one. See, like, what are we doing here? Galaxy Quest. Tim Allen, 1999.
How does that get above, like, any of these others that we've
talked about so far? Every single thing we've talked about.
That's a B-rate movie again. Like,
yeah. This is like a straight to DVD movie is what it kind of was. And the thing is, like, you know, I almost feel like they just threw all these on a list and said in no particular order. Nope is right above that at 78.
Nope's great.
Nope is great. Okay. Donnie Darko at number 76.
Oh, okay.
Total Recall.
That feels accurate.
Total Recall at number 73.
Original?
Original, yep.
You know, again, I think when you break the top 100, I'm like, none of these have been like as crazy as what you mentioned in the 100 to 150s. Like,
I agree.
That's what's being like. You got my head spinning a little bit here, because it's like you had some of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah.
In the 100 to 150 realm, and now you're hitting some of these where it's like, yeah, I kind of feel like Total Recall's probably in the right spot.
Yep,
you know?
Total Recall. That's exactly where I would put it. But
yeah,
if you figure that it's a beaten, yeah.
I mean, and that's Total Recall's one of those where I think it gets. I think it would get put higher in some areas just because it was such a there's such a unique movie for its time, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a unique movie for any time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Escape from New York at number 70.
Good old Snake Plissken.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't have a whole lot to say about that one, but I know that you were a fan. What was your relationship with that? Because I remember Snake Plissken. Didn't you have a cat named Snake Plissken or something like that?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Stupid.
God,
you're an idiot.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, now I'm going to go against, like, probably everybody else's thought. I actually like the second one, Escape from LA. Was actually one of my more favorite ones, right? And that was like, I think there's a pretty big gap between those two coming out. But I thought Escape from LA was fun. So I don't know. Snake Plissken's that's a cool character.
I gotta quick roll through some of these here because I just don't think we can not mention them because there's a few bangers here back to back. Okay, so starting at number 65, Annihilation. You remember that from 2018?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Natalie Portman, really good, really weird movie. I really like that one. But right in front of it, Interstellar. 63, Avatar.
Yeah,
62, Contact.
I want to go back to Interstellar. Have you seen just all
12 Monkeys at 61? Go ahead.
Monkeys is great too. Have you seen all of the comments around Interstellar and like what the movie is actually about, and some of these little different like Easter eggs that Christopher Nolan kind of threw in there to like kind of mess with you a little bit? So there's a scene in the very beginning where they're doing the test flight and basically it crashes, right? And it's said basically the pilot perished in that crash, right? And there's a scene there where it shows the outside of the spacecraft. And then later on in the movie, Nolan uses that exact same scene again on the outside of the spacecraft, which is either A, it's kind of lazy editing, or B, it's to actually signify that he died in the very beginning of that film, and you were watching the actual process is actually him passing to the afterlife. Like the whole thing after that. And it's crazy when you start looking at some of the correlations on some of the other, just in the script on what they're talking about and how they approach this. And I mean, it's probably one of those where you never know, what actually, what actually is, but that's a movie that'll just mess with you a little bit. So
I do think that that's a movie that every time you watch it again, it's like, oh, I learned something new here.
Yeah. 12 Monkeys is another one where that's Brad Pitt, right?
Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis, right? Yeah.
And that's a man. It's been a while since I've seen that, but that's a time travel movie as well. And
yes,
that's one I'd like to go back and watch that again because it's been a hot minute since I've watched that.
Yeah, Avatar. Nothing on Avatar.
Yeah, I mean, Avatar. That movie is incredible.
Yep.
And it was. I mean, what is that? Is that still the highest grossing film of all time?
No clue, but very possibly.
It's got to be up there, right?
Yeah.
I know that Matt Damon passed on the role and like also having royalties on it. He said it was like the most expensive mistake that he's ever made. To the tune of like $100 million mistake or something.
Yeah.
But Avatar, man, I'd probably go top 25 film of all time.
Yeah,
Like,
I personally, I wouldn't disagree with you if it was in the top 25, but I also think that 63 might be okay. You know, I think that we've talked about a lot of films that could be higher, and I know that it was top grossing and all that stuff, but I think that it's, you know, as far as like a storyline, to me, it wasn't anything like wildly original, even though we're talking about these giant blue aliens. I feel like it's still just another invading someone's Earth type of thing.
I mean, it's a very if you want to break it into this, but it's a very like political movie, right? I mean, it's locals versus big government or something, right? Is kind of how you look at that.
Well,
And
it's the invasive white man is what it is, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I mean, like, so I could see like knocking it for maybe originality on just storyline, right?
Yeah.
On underlying storyline, but I mean that film was incredible though. I mean just the CGI work that's done in that is, you don't feel like you're watching that, and you don't feel like you're watching a CGI film.
Yep, exactly. And right in front of it, we have Dance with the Wolves, which is just the non CGI version of it.
No, that's the exact same film.
It's the same film, just non CGI. No, Dance with Wolves is not in this list. It's number 60.
I guess I'm like, how is that science fiction? Like, man, you had me like spinning there for a minute.
No. E.T. the Extraterrestrial is number 60 though. So what do you think about that?
I'm good with that actually. Like E.T. is, and that should have been like a pinnacle of my childhood. I feel like, man, when would that come out? That had to have been early 80s.
I think it was. I gotta scroll up a little bit here. It was 83. That sounds about right to me, but I'm taking a second to load. 82.
82. Great year. But yeah, I don't know. E.T. was fun, but I can watch it. You know, I've probably seen it a couple times, and that's good.
RoboCop number 58.
Yeah, I actually like RoboCop. Right, actually, should probably be. Technically, I would put like RoboCop at like 85, right? Like, I don't know.
You think RoboCop needs to go back?
Yeah, I would actually kick RoboCop back at that point.
Okay. See,
fun movie.
Like, yeah. War of the Worlds, 2005, number 54.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah. Great movie, yeah.
Almost top 50. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that feels right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like that.
I'd slide it back a little bit, probably.
Man, the whole thing is like Live, Die, Repeat better be, or what's it?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. There we go. That needs to be high on this list.
What number are you going to put that at?
Edge of Tomorrow would be 22 for me.
Okay. Dune Part 1 at number 53.
The new one, right?
Yep.
Man, I mean, that's an incredible movie. But it's, you know, Dune Part 1's an interesting one because without Part 2, you don't have a complete story, right?
Yep.
And so it's like you almost have to look at like both of them together at that point in time. And if that was the case, I'd put it incredibly high.
Yeah.
If we're only breaking it into, you know, Part 1, man, what number is it?
53.
Yeah, I'd probably put it in the 30s.
A Clockwork Orange at 52.
Nah, man, I get it.
Yeah,
like I get it. I understand that is a cult classic movie. Stanley Kubrick, I believe, is who directed that. Man, what's that? Probably 76.
I think that was. I'd have to go back to look at it. I'm ahead of it, but yeah, it's somewhere around there. I think 77 is what it was. But
okay, yeah. I mean, I've said this before on A Clockwork Orange. It's worth the watch, right? It is not an easy film to watch. No. And it's something that I don't think I'll ever go back and revisit. Like it just wasn't enjoyable for me.
And I feel like it also I mean, I know it's science fiction, but like it's not really, I mean, it's in the future, but it's not really, I don't know. I feel like it's flirting the line with science fiction as well too, like even being in the category. So
yeah, I would agree.
Here's some that here's a couple that let's go 3, 4. I'm going to go 4 in a row here again, rattle them off for you, and just say that they're 4 bangers. There's a lot of good science fiction movies out there, Clint. Okay,
Yep.
this one, this is the one that's going to really, like, The Martian. I think The Martian is a perfect film, and I love The Martian. I love The Martian so much. It is a perfect film. It is, like I said,
Ridley Scott, right?
It was,
I think that's who directed
Ridley
that.
Scott. Yep. When I watched this one, when I watched that film, the first thing that I said afterwards was, I was prepared for a good movie, but I wasn't prepared for how much fun it was going to be, and that's what really like put it over the top for me.
Matt Damon made that movie. Mm-hmm. You know that's another one. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was going to say. That's Matt Damon's Castaway, right?
Yep.
I mean, he's got to carry that movie on his shoulders. The humor that was built into that movie, that is a movie that I can literally go back. I could watch it over and over and over and over.
Yep. And this is my chance to
what number is it?
Number 50. 25 at least, I think, is for me. It's got to be top 25.
I think you're right. I think it'd have to be in the top 25.
Do you want to take something out of the top 25?
I don't know. I already took a chance on that.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna hold firm and just listen to that. Right. I don't know if I can go through the emotional like tear of like kicking out one of my favorite movies. So.
Yeah. Okay, so The Martian. This is my chance to talk about an Audible that I listened to. It's called Project Hail Mary. It's the same writer as the person that wrote the book, The Martian, and it is designed to be an Audible. And I'm not kidding you. I only listen to Audible when I'm driving. I could not wait to get to the car again to pick up and listen to this. It's like it is such a science. Like they're doing math and they're trying to explain to you all these mysteries of science while he's trying to save his planet, and it is so stinking good. Listen to that on Audible right now. It's incredible.
Yeah, and not Danny Glover. Who's the who am I thinking of that's in The Martian?
All right, is it Donald Glover? Is he in there?
Donald Glover. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
And his character in that scene where he's taking the pen and he's doing like, talking about the math stuff and everything.
Yeah,
is one of my favorite scenes in that movie.
See,
we're gonna science the heck out of this.
So I don't remember that scene, but if you listen to Project Hail Mary, it's 90%. It is that. It's like, well, we got to do this exactly this way, and it's like, well, I'm an idiot because I didn't take this into effect, and it's like, yeah, I feel like you're in a science class and you're learning something from it, but it's the best Audible I've ever listened to it, and I can't say enough about it. But there's still a few more here that I feel like are a little 49, Everything Everywhere All at Once. 48, The Road Warrior. 47, Looper. I think those are all.
Yeah, Looper was fun. Okay, so you did, what was the first one?
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Man, I still have not watched that.
Oh my God, Clint.
I know.
How can you?
24, and I
think we have to pause the podcast in order for you to watch that, and we just come right back from it. My God. So
here's why I did not end up watching that movie, and this, you're gonna laugh at me on this, but whatever it was, when it hit streaming, whatever streaming service it was on, I didn't have at the time, and it was one of those like I kind of missed my window, like when everybody was talking about it, and then I just have not went back to revisit this. So I'm gonna watch that within the next like week or two.
Yeah, you need to watch that one.
What were the next ones?
The Road Warrior and Looper.
Yeah, I mean, I again,
the Road Warrior, I think is too high for me personally. I think that's too high for the Road Warrior. Or no, the Road Warrior. Yeah,
it's the original.
Yeah, that's too high in my opinion. And Looper, I love Looper, but I almost feel like that's too high because all these movies.
Looper's better than Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
I mean, like that doesn't make sense, right? And Looper's not Looper. Honestly, I could have swapped out Men in Black and Looper.
Yeah,
right. And been okay with that.
Here's where we're getting. So we've already talked about They Live and Gravity at 44, 43, 42. We've got Back to the Future. How do we have Back to the Future at 42?
I think I'm okay with that.
Are you?
I think I am. Like I like Back to the Future, right? But
yeah, and we can't keep saying everything's in the top 25.
Yeah, because all of a sudden we're gonna have 50 in the top 25, right?
Yeah.
I don't hate where it's at. I think I'm okay.
I don't hate it. I think it needs to be higher. The Terminator at 40, Wall-E 39.
Wally's great.
Wall-E, I feel like I could bang the table for a little bit higher. Inception, number 38.
Man, that's another one where I think I would have to go. I think I'd have to go higher there.
I think so too.
It's gotta be
Godzilla at number 37.
Which one?
That's the original one, 1954.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. How do you feel about that?
I would put that too high. Like
I would too. Yeah, I threw it out there and just said, okay. But here's the thing. Again, if you got Godzilla at number, what I say, 37, Godzilla 37 from 1954, but you don't have Jurassic Park.
That
I can't.
I know that thing just I can't get over, and I know like we're just going to keep saying the same thing over, but like it's just that is just a bad take in any list because like Jurassic Park could be on the top. You know, you're in a
whatever list it's on, it should be the top.
That's what I'm saying. Like even like when you're talking about like greatest movies of all time, Jurassic Park is still going to be higher than where it's at, right? Like I mean, like that's crazy to me.
Her from 2013 at number 35.
I would kick that back. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah. I thought it was good, but also I don't think it needs to be that high. Aliens. Yeah. Sigourney Weaver, 1986.
Like the original?
That's the second one. No, yeah, well, it's the second one.
The second one, gotcha.
Yeah. Which I would argue is better than the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I could. Again, I think you have some of these that are just such big franchises, right? That it's like, it's hard not to take some of that into account when you're thinking about some of these movies, right? Because it just goes to show the staying power of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like some of these movies that you've mentioned have not, like, nobody's ever made another one because, you know, either it just doesn't, I don't know. That's probably a bad argument, but.
Well, let's see how you feel about number 30 being Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, Mad Max Fury Road. I would push.
If it was more original, it'd have to be higher,
that'd be
right?
Top 15 on this list.
But it's not original enough. That's the thing.
It's not original enough?
I was just going off your comment about Aliens. You're kind of bashing Aliens, like, well, it's had a franchise and stuff, and some of these other ones.
I'm saying you should take that into account. I'm saying that's a good thing. That means that that's
don't get offensive. Don't get offensive.
That's positive. I think you took this to the offensive level.
Yeah. Well, you kind of bashed my Aliens there.
I was trying to say that when it's a franchise, I think that shows the staying power of the movie.
Yes.
Right. So it actually, like I said, I think that's a benefit. But yeah, I mean, Fury Road is the best Mad Max ever made. So
Ex Machina at number 29.
I actually feel like that's actually a pretty good spot.
That's a great. Like I'm very happy with that because that's the sort of thing that people wouldn't. So here's the next one at number 28, Brazil, which we were just shamed at the Last Picture House for not seeing this, and now it's on 28. So maybe we did deserve that shame a little bit more than what we were letting on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this at some point in time. What year is that?
1985.
85. I mean, man. The hard part is between the 70s and 80s, there are so many of these films that are just sitting there that it's like, how do you get through it? It's kind of like horror films, right? Yep. Like,
let's stay with that one and also hit on horror films a little bit and go to The Fly from 1986, Jeff Goldblum.
Where's that at?
26. And I think I love it at 26.
I think I'm okay with it. I mean,
I think I love it at 26. I would. If you had to, 26 seems right.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Here's one that I did not expect to see this high on this list, but here we are. At number 24, Minority Report. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I like Minority Report. Another Tom Cruise film. I've seen it probably a handful of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be this high. Like I think that's I'd probably have that back in like the 70s to tell you the truth.
I feel like 54 is where it needs to be.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, 54. Okay, after that we have Snowpiercer, or we had Snowpiercer. I believe you took that one off the list.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that.
Number 22. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters. The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Number 22, Empire Strikes Back. Man, actually, Empire should be the highest. I mean that's like one of my favorite films of all time. Well, again.
And I mean, also, like, in my opinion, when you're taking this into effect, so I'm still trying to rationalize like Jurassic Park and why it's back there at 106 or whatever it was. It's like, if you want a true science fiction, like, there is nothing more science fiction than Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, that is the epitome. Star Trek, maybe.
Empire, I think, is like, it could be ranked as, in my mind, could be ranked as the best of all the Star Wars films.
Mm-hmm.
Like Empire, that opening scene, the AT-ATs, on the planet of Hoth, right? Yep. Like, just that whole aspect there is just one of my favorite. Yeah, I mean, I've watched that movie a million times, and it's like, that's top 5. That's top 5 on this list.
Do you want to eliminate something from the top 5?
No, I told you I can't. I cannot, in good faith.
Then it's not the top 20, not top 5. It's 22.
Because I got to know what I'm kicking out. I can't just, because otherwise I'm gonna put Guardians at like number 2, and I'm gonna put Empire at number 1.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And I don't want to kick out 1 and 2. Like, I don't know what that is yet.
Well, we stayed safe here, and John Wesley Norton's not going to be too mad at us because we got The Thing at 21.
Yeah, and I think that's accurate. I'm not going to argue that.
I think that's exactly where it needs to be, too. I think that a lot of people will argue that it needs to be higher. I think the 21 is about perfect.
I would agree.
Solaris. I have not seen Solaris.
Yeah, same.
19, Planet of the Apes.
Like the original?
Yeah.
I mean, man, all of the newer ones are better, in my opinion.
I agree with that too.
Like,
I don't think it's even that hot of a take. They are so much better.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd punt that backwards, but
yep. Invasion of the Body Snatchers is number 18. I probably wouldn't put it this high, but I see why it would be. 17. This is where I'm going to have some qualms about something pretty. This is where it's going to start anyway. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
It's Jim Carrey, right?
Yep, Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet.
Yeah. What is that? Like 2000, 2002?
2004.
2004. Okay. Man, that has a huge following though, right?
It does. Like, it does, and it's a good movie. I don't know if it deserves to be on this list even. You know?
Is that one of those where, is that a book?
I think so, yeah. I can skim through this here, but I don't see anything right off the top of my head or right off the.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Like, on some of these, it's interesting if you get a big following of a really great book, right? And then also come out with a great movie. You know, does that elevate it somewhere, right?
Maybe. I mean, like, even I don't know. I just can't see a reasoning why this would be on this list. I don't think it's even science fiction enough. I mean, like, the whole science fiction aspect is like making them forget. You know, I guess it's a brain twister a little bit, but like, I don't like it. I don't like this one at all. If it's in here, put it back at 106. Swap this one and Jurassic Park. Right, I'm gonna try not to mention Jurassic Park again. Okay. Number 16. This one.
Have you ever seen Double Impact? It's got to be number 1 on your list, right?
Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991, from number 16.
Number 16, man. I mean, it's honestly, it's probably
it's number 2, Clint. It's got to be like number 2. Like, it's got to be top 3.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy's 1, or Empire.
I would put this above.
I can't remember how I'm putting these now, but I think I said Empire 1 and Guardians 2, so it can't be 1 or 2. But
I would put this above both of those on my list.
Yeah, I mean, T2 is that's I think we said it during the action movie, when we were talking about that. I mean, that's, you want to talk about one of the most like perfect action blockbuster films of all time is T2. I mean, that was incredible.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it should be in the top 10.
Well, we can't move it up too high because we don't want to skip knock Edge of Tomorrow out of the top 15.
Okay, that's where it should be.
It's almost exactly where it should be. I love this number.
Exactly where it should be.
It's funny that you and I were just talking about this movie and how great it was. And what was this? While we were at the Last Picture House, I think we were talking about it. And like how it just gets no love. And now here it is getting a lot of love. And so I do appreciate that. Like, I don't think like any
viewed as like it was a failure at the block in the theaters.
Yeah,
like it's a flop is how it went down. And it's like that movie, when you watch it, you want to talk about an original film. Like that storyline is great, and when you finally get to the end, and she asks him, she finally realizes, and she's like, "How many times?"
Are we gonna tell everybody the plot? Spoiler alert here.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you have not watched this film, I mean, come on. But it's like when she finally realizes what's happening, and she's like, "How many times have you done this?" And then he says, like, "How many?" And it's just like you just have this, like, you've been at this a year and a half. Like
exactly.
That's incredible. And and every time. It's like that movie where I think like messes with my mind a little bit is it's like playing a video game, and every time you die, you go back to level 1 every single time. Right.
Yes.
And it's like, and that's where even once they get to like the farmhouse, like you're kind of like, oh, they finally got there. But it's like every time that they die, they're still going back to the very beginning. Like he still has to do all of that, where he gets thrown off the car and he's handcuffed, like all that stuff still has to happen every single day. Could you imagine how monotonous I would get?
No, well, and that's just like playing video games. Just in that alone, do you remember the frustration of having to start back and you're just like, oh my god, we got to go all the way back there?
Yeah,
it's like we didn't hit a save.
Like and we're complaining that we got to go back like 10 minutes.
Exactly. He's got to go back one full day.
One full day, and it's like, my goodness, like you're just, I don't know, like that movie is incredible. If you have not watched that, go watch that immediately.
What gets me is like where he's rolling through, and he's going through them really fast, and he knows what to do now, so he's just like a professional at it. But what's funny is like I know that when I play video games, and it's like, all right, I've been through this level, I've done this, so you try and skip through it. And it's like, I'm just going to skip right through all this stuff. And you end up screwing up everything like so many times. Like
one wrong step, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like, great. I got all the way here. Now I got to go back. So, yeah. 14, Arrival.
Yeah.
I like that spot.
Yeah. I would probably push it back. It'd probably be like top 20. Like I wouldn't push it back very far, but
I think the Arrival it checks all the boxes for this. You didn't realize you were in for such a twist in this movie. It's beautiful. I mean, it's pretty close to a perfect movie. I love this spot for it.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not upset about it. I guess put it that way.
The Man Who Fell from Earth or Fell to Earth. I have not seen this, but it's a David Bowie film. 1976. No clue. The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951. That one I respect here.
Wow. Okay.
Here's one that I would never expect to be this high. I kind of like it though. Starship Troopers.
Starship. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like to know more?
What number?
11.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be there for me.
Yeah. Like, I think it would be for me. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. I just don't. I'm going through my head like some of these other movies that you've rattled off, but now also like. To be fair, I'm also like I like very specific movies, right? And there's going to be some of these that I would rank higher, knowing that they like Independence Day would be ranked like crazy high for me because I love watching that movie, right? And so it's like, but I know that it doesn't hold a candle to Jurassic Park.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
one that does hold a candle, though.
So we're going to top 10 now, right?
Top 10.
All right.
And rolling out the top 10 is a mega hit, whatever you want to call it. Could be number 1, The Matrix.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Matrix needs to be here. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's one of my all-time favorite movies right there. Yeah. And yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. I mean, like, it should be in the top 10, and it's in the top 10. Where you want to place it in the top 10, I can see arguments all over the place, but that's just one of the greatest movies ever made right there.
Star Wars number 9 just says Star Wars. I'm assuming
it's
A New Hope.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, again, it should be there.
Yeah. Okay. This one, I have never heard of it. Where's John Wesley Norton when you need him? Metropolis, 1927.
1927?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Yeah. You're going back to like...
Well, you knew they had to throw some of those in there.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. I am not, we're just a couple of guys that like movies and like talking about movies. We're not movie experts, right? And so this, I would have to phone a friend and have to ask a movie expert. Again, like you said, let's give John a call, right? Because I have no clue. And I'm sure if it's on this list, it carries, I'm sure that somewhere somebody's going to say this was the first science fiction film ever made, and it's like what opened the door to science fiction films or something, right? And it's like, okay, you got to give it its nod.
Yeah. Well, and you can reiterate, I want you to double down on that. We are not film experts because you have not seen number 7.
Oh,
Children of Men.
Oh no, I was just looking that up. Yeah.
Yeah. We were just talking about that one at the Last Picture House too.
Yeah. That was the on the menu we were looking at there. But that one is going to get watched very soon. So
you need to watch that one. That's a great film. I mean, great film.
What's it about? Like, what's like the premise of that movie?
It's another dystopian future but this time women have, the human race has stopped having babies. So the youngest person on Earth is like 18, and that person is like this super famous person. And ultimately Clive Owen discovers a natural birthed woman or a pregnant woman. And so it's his job to protect her and get her to some sort of like underground.
I have seen this movie.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I have. I've seen. Now that you're like sitting here talking about it, I've seen this movie before. I don't know if I've seen it in its entirety.
Yeah,
but I've seen this film.
This is why you need to keep your letterbox up to date.
I know. Yeah. Well, I need to go back and watch it regardless because, like I said, I don't remember it. So
here's one at number 6 that, again, I have not seen this one. Maybe you have. Called Under the Skin. From 2013.
How do you have that new of a movie that I've never even heard of?
It does say that the top line there I just saw, call it a man who fell to earth for millennials. John Glazer's cryptic tale of an extraterrestrial femme fatale, Scarlett Johansson, in what is still a career best performance, who lures suspecting dudes to their death. I think I've seen this on TikTok or something like that. I think I've seen clips of it. I don't think it rated that high on like IMDb, so that's why I didn't prioritize it.
It's rated a 6.3, but it's an A24 film.
Yeah, that's okay. So I've seen this one advertised. When I saw it was a 6.3, I'm like, I'm not gonna put it up at the top of my list. I don't want to be a little snooty and stuff, but you gotta. Yeah, but that's number 6.
It is an 84 on Rotten Tomatoes, though. So
okay, all right. Just ahead of that, we have Alien.
Yeah, that's. I could never argue that.
Nope.
It's a great
Blade
spot.
Blade Runner, number 4.
That's horrible spot. Man, you know my thoughts on Blade Runner.
I know you do.
I think that's a overrated movie.
I finally watched it again. I watched it basically back to back. I watched the version where they had, I don't remember, it was like the extended version where they didn't have
cut or whatever.
Well, yeah, where they didn't have his thoughts in it. Yeah. And as I was watching it, I'm like, well, this doesn't seem right because I thought they were talking about the street speak and all that stuff. So I watched it that way, and then I turned around and watched it right back the other way. And because it was because of Dave, and his recommendation and the Rutger Hauer thing and all that stuff, I did like it a lot more. This last 2 times I watched it, I liked it a lot more. I still am not going to put it up as high as what everybody else does.
Nowhere near the top 5. Like,
no,
I'm sorry,
no.
but I did watch the new one.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's not for me, man. Like, that's
that one
just,
was on the list. That was on the list somewhere too. It was like 140 or something like that. But
yeah.
Number 3, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I feel like that's aptly put here just because of the fact that it is what we think of when we think of alien abductions and stuff. Like, that's kind of like sets. I mean, like, everybody that imagines an alien abduction, that's the movie you think of. Whether you know it or not, that's the movie you think of.
I would agree with that, and that fits the genre, right? Again, it would not be anywhere near that for me on some of the other movies that we've already talked about, right?
Yeah.
But
yep. Number 2, Stalker, 1979. No clue. I don't think it deserves to be up here though, because again, I have no clue. I've never even heard of it. And number 1, probably in my opinion, the most overrated movie in the history of movies. 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
I hate this movie so much.
As soon as you said that, it's like, yeah, that is the. I mean, that's honestly like the Godfather of
I know
of science fiction.
I know, but
right?
I feel like it's an Emperor's New Clothes thing, though. Everybody's like, "Oh, so beautiful."
That goes back to like the guys that seen the original Star Wars in movie theaters again, like that generation. Yeah. I mean, this was the film, right? This was the film of the time.
I just think that none of them had.
I would not put it anywhere near that. But like, I mean, a couple of these at the end, like, they are what you would truly think of like this science fiction films, right? That you really think of. 2001: A Space Odyssey has to be high on a list like this. It would have to be high. I mean, that is just one of like.
But the thing is, again, I just don't think anybody's had the guts to say it's not a good movie. Nobody's been honest about it and just said, you know what, guys, we've been kind of like, I bet if all these critics got together and they'd be like, one of them just said, you know, guys, I got something to admit. I didn't like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Then somebody else would be like, yeah, I've been faking this for 40 years, how many years? It's 60 years. And then it'd just be like, yeah, we agree. This movie sucks. I don't know. I'm pretty passionate about how much I dislike it. I've watched it like 3 different times trying to see what I missed. And to anybody listening, please tell me what I'm missing on why I should like this so much.
Yeah, and here's the thing. After we've went through this now, I am replacing 1 and 2 with Empire and Guardians now. So
you didn't have the guts to do it. You didn't have the guts to do it. So Terminator or whatever it was that I was going to put up there is up there. So
yeah, I tell you what, like I said, there's got to be anytime that you go to make a list like this, it's got to be tough, right? I would love to know what's the criteria, right? Like, why do some of these films get put higher than others? They got to have some sort of reason, unless it's just a couple of yahoos like you and I sitting there trying to concoct a list. Because if we took these 150 movies, it would be hilarious for us to sit down and like fill this list out with those movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we would anger a lot of people. Right?
Yes, exactly. That'd actually be a fun episode. I mean, like, why not do that? Sometimes just sit down and put our own list together and rearrange all these. Take all these 150 movies and put them how we would put them.
Yeah, we got to keep these movies, but it's correct. Like, we would do that. So,
well, yeah, I mean, like, I can't come up with 150 movies. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I like the Omega Man. I have no clue. I don't know. There's a bunch of them. I skipped past the Running Man from. Which they're doing a movie remake of that one, which I think will probably be closer to the actual book, which was nowhere near what this one was. So
yeah.
So
and like I said, it is interesting to see like Guardians is there, but none of the other Marvel movies.
Exactly.
Right? That it's like, again, like, what classifies as science fiction then? Because I mean, Endgame is, and then Infinity Wars are pretty science fiction-y.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you've got superheroes, aliens, time travel, literally
You're
everything.
in space.
Yes, space. Yes, exactly.
You're literally
every
like
thing you need.
Yeah, it's like everything there. So
and the Guardians of the Galaxy, for that matter.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so like I said, there's some things on this that's just kind of tough to understand. But hey, for those of you that are still listening, make sure that if you like this episode, give us a like, subscribe, and of course you can listen to us wherever podcasts are at. So anyway, I just wanted to plug that out there real quick.
Also, tell us where we're wrong on this, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are passionate about what we've said and are screaming at their screens or their speakers or whatever and saying we're idiots, and tell us what we missed, because again, we're just a couple guys who like movies and like to talk about movies. We're not movie experts. Like I said, Clint still hasn't seen Children of Men, so we can't call ourselves movie experts until that's crossed off at least.
For Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake.
Like, the other one too, like where does a Ready Player One fit in? You know that's one of my favorite movies.
I know, yeah. I don't,
and that's got to be like a science fiction.
Yeah, there weren't really any. I didn't see any. I don't think there were any video game movies on here that like, or that style of. I guess it's not really even a video game movie. I mean, it is, but it's not based off a video game. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. What are the criteria? Like, what made that movie be left off? And Tank Girl rolls in at number 150.
Yeah,
I don't know.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey, this was fun. Thanks for surprising me with a top 150 sci-fi films. That was fun. It was fun to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Next time we'll have to go through I think they've ranked all of the Marvel movies, like the entire Marvel universe. So
that'd be fun.
One of these times.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Well, hey, with that, the credits are rolling.
Lights are coming on.
That's the end of the show.